So before I got cut off, I was going to talk about the risk identification. So a few of the potential risks involved in this project include the following: poorly executed construction drawings. So with any construction project, there was always a possibility that the original drawings were drawn incorrectly or missing a key component. This could result in change orders, which are very common on construction jobs. But they get expensive for the general contractor, which is us, Jay Calnan, and also slow the project down as a whole, which results in scheduling problems. Second risk would be the fast pace of the job. With a project like this that has a very specific deadline, people tend to rush things from time to time, which can result in work not being done correctly or not being done at all. Um, Also, more importantly, injuries, people getting injured on the job, just rushing things and not keeping their head on a swivel. The third risk identification, is poor communication. When a project is planned correctly, there is less room for error or less potential of errors with communication. But it's always a possibility, and it's actually one of the bigger problems that could occur. So the two things that result from poor communication are subcontractors encountering problems that the project team didn't identify beforehand, which just results in scheduling once again being slowed down and affected. But also subcontractors not asking enough questions, going ahead and doing things before they're told exactly how to do it, or the way that they think it's supposed to be done isn't the way it's supposed to be done. So those are two big issues that we hope to mitigate using weekly meetings, which I'll go into in the next slide. But the fourth risk is the weather. With the exterior work that's being done on this job, the site work, the installation of the 20,000 gallon septic tank, and all the utilities going from the road to the building, that can slow things down with the other trades like the plumbers and with the plumbers mostly, and that holds things up a lot. But also on the roof, there's two AC units that need to be installed, and actually a crane will be required to place them there. And if we schedule the crane to come one day, which is not a cheap scheduling thing to do, cranes aren't cheap, so that could throw things off with the schedule and the budget. So we hope that does not occur. But also, material needs to be delivered to jobs like this. Everything from drywall, framing, and everything really, everything that can't be brought to the job by the sub specifically, will be delivered on a freight truck, and sometimes those freight trucks are affected by the weather. So material not being delivered on time is a problem that we also identified. The monitoring plan, I would say that one of the most efficient ways to monitor the weekly progression of the project and to make sure that all problems are being dealt with will be the weekly subcontractor meetings that I mentioned earlier. That will involve one team member from each sub attending a weekly meeting in the building, in another building that's actually in the same business park as this building. The project superintendent from Calnan and the project manager from Calnan will be there, and they will talk with all the subs and try to talk about the issues and the goals of the week ahead, or the previous week. Another monitoring tactic that we'll use is the daily scorecard, which will involve the superintendent going through the job site at the end of each day and basically just keeping track of what did and did not get done. Um, if you don't do that, subs might think that they did everything they were supposed to, and sometimes word of mouth isn't enough. Sometimes the project superintendent needs to actually go there and visually see what was and was not done, and go around with a checklist and take note of all that. The last monitoring tactic that will be used is basically just keeping in touch with the project stakeholders. So everyone involved in the project team for Calnan will be assigned someone from the guild that they basically need to keep in touch with and alert and just talk to them and make sure that they know how everything's going. And first of all, that'll keep them happy, and you'll get less calls from them if you do that correctly. But also, yeah, peace of mind is the main thing here. So just filling them in on budget and schedule related stuff. So I think that all three of these combined should keep the project on track from start to finish. Also, the lessons learned for this project, I wasn't sure if this was something that we needed to put into this presentation, so I'm going to touch on that in my final project. So hopefully that does it. So thank you very much. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.